Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Logan, and I'm here to bring you this podcast for this week, the week of January 18th. I'm here just recording on my phone. I figured this would be a good way to do these podcasts because it's a little bit more personal, and also I noticed my camera still wasn't working on my laptop, so this might be the way I'm doing my videos for a little while now. Either way, still good quality. We'll make it work, right? Alright, so first off of this podcast, just going to talk a little bit about what's coming out this week. And finally, for the first week of January 2019, we actually have some stuff to come out this week, some stuff that I'll be doing reviews on. So I'm extremely excited for that. Being that I am getting this up a little early, it's already Friday. The albums have already come out. I've already listened to both of the albums that I'm going to be talking about here. The first one being Malibu Ken. That is a duo of Aesop Rock and Tobacco. And first impression, I thought it was really good. Of course, Aesop Rock's bringing us some of his good bars that he always brings. You know, he's always a really good lyricist. And I like the beats on here, too. I haven't listened to it, but I've only listened to it one time, so I don't have enough to give a full review of it, and that's not what I'm here to do anyways. But so far, I liked it, and I look forward to listening to it again to get a deeper understanding of it so that I can do a full-on review for y'all. But right now, I would recommend it. And that is one that I was excited for whenever I heard about it. The second one would be The Wizard by Future. And Future's finally coming back to us with a solo project. He's one that lately has been definitely more on the wave of a lot of other popular artists, giving us more quantity rather than quality. And this one is 20 tracks, so that scares me a little bit. I'm currently a little bit over halfway through listening to it, so I have somewhat of an idea of what it's like, and it's been enjoyable so far, fun to listen to. I haven't really paid that much attention to the lyricism since this is just my first listen through. I will go back through, pay more attention to that, and then read along with it on Genius to make sure I understand what all he's saying and make sure I didn't miss anything. But, yeah, so far I haven't really noticed too much depth on it, a little bit on a few songs here and there, but overall it's more of the same from Future. I'm still excited to go back through because it is some easy listening. It's not a bad project by him so far from what I can tell, but I haven't found anything to stick out yet either, and that's about how I expected this to go. So we'll see what it turns out to either way once I get to that. But yeah, that's what's coming out this week, and as far as I know from looking at the calendar, unless anything surprising happens, that's pretty much all that's coming out for the month of January. Usually a pretty slow month, and it's been extremely slow so far this year, so hopefully we'll get more into the swing of things come February, but I'm expecting, you know, not much to drop until like March or maybe even April, I don't know. But either way, that just gives me time to relax, get some different kind of content out to y'all. I'm still trying to figure out what else I should do other than these podcasts, so we'll figure that out going forward. But what I've been listening to lately, I have been listening to actually a podcast on Spotify. I don't know if any of y'all have heard of it, but it's called Dissect, however you want to say it, whatever. It is one that spends every season diving into a album, usually hip-hop. One season spends it on R&B, and I'll talk a little bit about what all the albums he's done, but it dives into it, tells a little bit of the history of the artist, history of their discography, maybe even if it's important, history of where they're from. And then spends an entire episode, around 30 to 40 minutes per episode, diving into the different themes on the song and like what the song's about and all that. And I've really enjoyed it. I've only gotten through the first season and part of the second season, but I highly recommend y'all listen to it. The first season is about To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick, and it's about 22 episodes long because he goes through every song. Some songs he spends two episodes on. But it just gives you a greater understanding of the album and a greater respect for it. So like with To Pimp a Butterfly, I had a pretty good understanding of that because that's my favorite hip-hop album ever, but it just gave me even more understanding of like how in-depth it was, where there were double entendres of things. Like sometimes you're like, okay, he's talking about society, but at the same time he's talking about himself, and I mean I recognize that at some points, but it just breaks it down step for step and gives you a better understanding of it. The second season, the one I'm currently listening to right now, is about My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye, which in my opinion is the second best album of the past decade and definitely one of the best albums in hip-hop history. The third season, that's all about Blonde by Frank Ocean. And that, of course, is one of the best R&B albums of all time, one of the most in-depth R&B albums of all time, and I look forward to getting to that one. And then he has a little mini-season before Season 4 comes out this year. The mini-season was dedicated to the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill by, of course, Lauryn Hill. So I look forward to getting to that as well. But highly recommend y'all listen to that. It's it's great. It helps you get a better understanding of these albums. Other than that, I haven't really been listening to too much. I did go through Man on the Moon 1 and 2, and then Kids See Ghosts, just going through a little bit of Kid Cudi. Mainly because, like, I wasn't one of the people who thought Kids See Ghosts was all that fantastic. It was definitely up there in my honorable mentions for top 10, top 20 albums of the year. But it just wasn't, like, a lot of people had it at number 1, and that just wasn't where I had it. So I wanted to go back and listen and see if I could find what they were going for, and I definitely have more respect for it to a degree. Just looking at it and looking back on the history of duo albums, collab albums, like what Jay-Z and Kanye did on Watch the Throne, or obviously what Kid Cudi and Kanye did on Kids See Ghost. Kids See Ghost definitely stands by itself because as of late, there have not been that many great collab albums. I mean, you look back, you have obviously the great ones would be like Kids See Ghost. You have Black Star, Talib Kweli, and Mos Def. That was a great one. But really, there's just a lot of history of neither artist bringing everything they have. Like Juice WRLD and Future, yeah, obviously you wouldn't expect that much out of both of them anyways, but they really did not bring the best out of themselves. And if they had, that could have been a great album. But yeah, that there's just so many examples of like where artists don't always bring their best. Obviously on like Bad Meets Evil, Eminem and Royce da 5'9", they both brought out a lot of good in each other, but I still think it could have been a little bit better maybe. But yeah, looking back at like Watch the Throne by Kanye and Jay-Z, that's an example of where two of the best rappers of all time, and they just did not bring their best. It's still a good, enjoyable project, but it could have been so much more, and you can look back at it and see that. But yeah, that's what I've been listening to, and that's just a little bit of my thoughts on there. And yeah, with that, my topic for this week, I do want to talk about, since I was listening to some Kid Cudi, some of my personal favorite calming rap. Because, you know, usually people talk about rap and they're like, oh, it's all trap rap, it's all turn up in the club, stuff like that. No one really listens to the conscious stuff, and that's not even what I'm specifically going to be talking about that, but that's just not popular anymore. And then the chill rap, I mean, no one's really listening to that unless they're like trying to get high or something, you know? So yeah, for me, calming rap, it's kind of a subgenre that doesn't get enough attention because, like I said, a lot of people just want to listen to rap whenever they're turning up or stuff like that. And that's just not, that's so limiting to the genre. So, I mean, for me, calming rap, some of my favorites, Kid Cudi, definitely love it. A lot of the stuff he's put out. Some of his albums aren't always all that great, but Man on the Moon 1 and 2, fantastic. Indica, that was a good project. Kids See Ghost, that's calming. Another person, Kanye, of course, he has some calming stuff, more so towards the beginning of his career, and then also 808s and Heartbreaks. Some of that's pretty calming. Drake, some of his stuff, especially earlier on, So Far Gone, Take Care, a little bit of Nothing Was the Same. Those were more calming projects that I really enjoyed. And then, of course, my favorite group, hip-hop group of all time, I'm not saying they're the best, but my favorite, A Tribe Called Quest, just the best calming music. So many great beats that really don't, like, outdo the lines, the lyrics at the same time, but they just blend together so well. It's such a good sound. And then while I'm talking about them, I can throw in De La Soul also. They're just another group of the same general sound that works out just like that. I just think that that's a subgenre of hip-hop that really does not get that much attention and deserves a whole lot more attention. So yeah, go listen to some of the artists I've said, and then if you have some favorite calming hip-hop artists, mention them down below. I'm not going to mention every single one that I can think of off the top of my head, but I definitely listen to a lot more than just those. So if I didn't mention someone that you really enjoy, don't get mad at me. I promise you I probably still listen to them. But yeah, if you have any, go ahead and comment them down below. If you have any suggestions for albums that just recently came out that you would like to see a review of, drop that down below also. And while we're at it, go ahead and give a like, subscribe, share the video if you enjoyed, all those great things. And thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see y'all next week with some album reviews.